please, oh, love to the children, yeah, in their eyes are the answers we see.
Now, here's today's host, Dr. Erik Kowalke.
All right, welcome to Look to the Children. I'm super excited to be on here. My name is Dr. Erik Kowalke, and thanks to ChiroSecure and Dr. Stu for putting this on so consistently for such a long time. Dr. Tony, if you've seen some of these, and Dr. Monica do just a fantastic job, and there's been some awesome guests. And really, if you look through the profession, there really isn't anything like this for chiropractors to go to for pediatric resources that's just consistent like this show. And so I'm excited to be on here. I'll give you a little bit about myself. I have a practice in Grand Rapids, Michigan, Higher Health Chiropractic. We opened in 2011. As you can see behind me, that's our Higher Health Chiropractic Pediatrics logo. We see lots of kids. I have 5 children of my own. Currently, they're 10, 9, 7, 4, and 2, which keeps us plenty busy. My wife and I had 2 when we opened in 2011, and now 7.5 years later, we have 5. But it gives us a really cool niche in our community, I guess. When you have a big family, other big families are attracted to you because they can kind of relate, and you can relate to them on just raising your kids and trying to make the right choices health-wise, and it allows us to educate them on chiropractic and how amazing chiropractic is for kids. We see a lot. Our office currently sees 12 to 1,300 patients a week, and 30 to 40% of those are kids in pediatrics. So we see 300-400 kids a week, and we have consistently for 3 or 4 years now. And I've also been a leader in the AMPed program for 5.5 years since its inception in 2013. I travel to chiropractic colleges all over every year, 3 or 4 a year, and teach and give back to students on how to open successful practices. I'm an extension faculty advisor at Life Chiropractic College, Life University Palmer, Logan, which allows me to connect to students there as well and just give back and try to help them learn before they even graduate from school. I also started SKED, a technology company, back in 2015 that currently allows over 70,000 patients a month to manage their schedules and get into chiropractic offices easier and faster, and just help more people get chiropractic care. And that's really our mission. And when I was approached by Stu and Alan on this pediatric show, what to do, and we talked about it, I was like, well, there's some really important things that I want to make sure happens and is really clear with the show moving forward. So if you're watching this, know this as well, what the show is not. I don't want this to be a platform for products to be sold or programs to be sold. So just know I'm committing to that. I'm not going to be selling you products. I'm not going to bring people on as guests that are going to sell you products. That's not the intent. The intent is to give you content, nuts and bolts that you can use and apply in your practice to grow your practice and see more kids. If you're watching this show, that's what it's about. It is going to be just really tangible steps. I value your time, so I'm going to try to keep it between 15 and 20 minutes. So you can get on, watch it on your lunch break or to and from the office, and get something that you can tangibly take away and implement or start to work on in your practice to see more kids. I do use certain systems and procedures and products in my office that allow us to run very efficiently and just see a lot of people and manage all of that and create an extraordinary experience. So if we're talking about something in the show that relates to a technology or a tool or a resource that we use that allows us to do that really efficiently, I'll bring that up at the end and let you guys know where you can find it and access more information and resources. And then it's up to you if you want to check it out or do what you want with that. So I was thinking about this initial topic, and one of the things that we have in our favor, you heard me mention extraordinary experience in the chiropractic profession, is that our counterpart, kids, if they're not seeing us, they're going the medical route, and the medical route does not create an extraordinary experience 99% of the time. I can tell you every experience I've had personally with my kids hasn't been extraordinary. And I've heard a million other stories that haven't been extraordinary. So even if you do just kind of a good job in your office, make it a good experience, it's probably going to be better than the counterpart. What we have against us is people have no idea what we do and why it would help kids. And there's probably people in your office that have kids that don't even know that you see kids or could help their kids, or even know that their kids should even get checked for nerve interference and subluxation. And it's one of my passions to just really change the health mindset of the next generation, because y'all know that if your kids were subluxation free, they would grow up healthier and happier and prevent all of this stuff from happening that could happen. If they only knew, our patients and our practice members in our community only knew what we knew, then they would all do what we do, and that's get our kids checked a lot and frequently so that they can stay subluxation free. So it gets down to, well, how do we communicate that effectively without coming off as like a total weirdo or a quack chiropractor that's just like, hey, this subluxation's everything. And so I'm going to help you guys with that. And like, how do we communicate in our office to see so many people? How do we make it efficient? How do we make it so that parents are just finding us on Google and they just want to call our office and make appointments? Or they heard from a friend who heard from a friend. I had somebody the other day tell me that they were at a garage sale and they just happened to be talking to a lady at the garage sale and told her, hey, this is what I got going on. And that lady said, hey, you need to come to our office. And so it's how do we create that environment so that we can see kids? And you can see behind me, this is part of it, and I'll get into that too, is like visually, does your office look like a place that kids would go? So I'm getting ahead of myself, but communication is key. And that's what this episode is going to focus on, is communicating with your community and with your patients and with the people in your office and outside your office. And really that revolves around connecting and building trust, because somebody will sacrifice themselves, even if they're like, they come in with low back pain and they're not sure you're going to help them, they'll like give it a shot. But their kids are a totally different story. They have to like really trust you. Their kid can be really sick and they're still like, I don't want him to make my kid worse, And I heard from a friend of a friend that they had a stroke when they got adjusted. So I don't want my kid to have a stroke. This is the stuff that's going through their mind when they come into the office or even think about it. Or they picture like a just horrible chiropractic adjustment that's like hurting a child. Or they think about the one time their pediatrician told them, oh, don't ever go see a chiropractor. So you're battling all this stuff. So you really need to focus on making the experience extraordinary and positive and upbeat at every step of the game. So if you broke down the different ways that you communicate through your community, it's number one is outside your office, what is the view of your clinic? Do people even know that you see kids in your office? And if they don't, then even if they do, how do you do it better? So it's through social media. Like, do you have a Facebook presence that says anything about the fact that you see kids? Do you have referrals? Is there people talking about it? That means the people in your office need to know that you see kids and why you see kids, because they know kids that need chiropractic care too. They just don't know to tell them. So you need to help them with that. Are you doing talks in your community or in your office on pediatrics and kids related things? Do you have a family? And if you have a family, is your family portraying a chiropractic lifestyle? And are you living healthy? And are you an example? And are you talking about that and showing that to your community and through your networks of church and school and the different places that you connect in? People are always watching and they know who you are everywhere you go. And if you're saying one thing in the office, but you're doing something else at home, they're going to know that. And you're just going to lose credibility and lose trust, which ultimately means you're going to lose people. So the other two is day one in the office. And the next one is day two in the office. And when I was thinking about this, like, okay, let's go through important steps 1, 2, and 3, community day 1, day 2, as far as communicating. I really thought, well, the important is to flip that around, because day 2 in your office for a lot of you is where you're doing like a report of findings, or you're talking to the parents about, these are the recommendations. This is how often I wanted to see the kid. Oftentimes the second visit you're seeing them. What objectively are you looking for when you're adjusting them? What are you finding? How do you communicate that effectively to the parent? That is so important. So if you did that last and you started working on Facebook marketing, you talk about kids at screenings, or you got posters of kids up and people are referring kids into your office, and you got 20 more new kids this week. Next week you had 20 more new pediatric patients walk in the door. If you don't you're not really good at your exam and your procedures and creating value around chiropractic care and educating them to the point where they really understand it, and then clearly communicating the benefits and what you expect to achieve over what period of time and how many visits you want to see them and what it's going to cost and what to look forward to the next couple visits they come in. Like, all of that stuff is so important, so that when you go get all the new patients, and we're going to go through that in a couple episodes too, like how do you actually go get more new pediatric patients, that you process them and you can handle them in your office and you're ready for that to create an extraordinary experience. And you'll hear me say that a lot. That's one thing that our office just stands on, is an extraordinary experience. I want every person that walks in to leave and be like, that was awesome. That place made it easy for me. They were efficient in their processes. I feel like my questions are answered, and they had the confidence to tell me this is what's going on and this is how we can help. And now I have hope for the first time that my kid's going to get better. And if they don't leave with that, then I like to know why and figure out how we can make it better. So I'd encourage you guys to look at your environment and do the same. So work on knowing how to put together appropriate recommendations for kids. And if you guys have questions or comments on specific scenarios, you can post those below. I'd be happy to respond to you guys and help you through that. But I'm not going to go through technique. Every technique is different. There's different ways to adjust kids. I mean, I went through the ICPA program and got certified through that. You could adjust kids so many different ways. And if I referred my kid somewhere, I wouldn't really care exactly what you did to adjust. I just want to know that your intent is there and you're super confident that you're the best. If you don't think you're the best, then other people aren't going to think you're the best. So you need to gain enough confidence and enough studies in your own to know, like, I'm the best pediatric chiropractor. And if they come and see me, I know I'm going to be able to help them. And that's where I want to bring my kids. So knowing that confidence and then clearly communicating that. So does the patient know, like, does the parent know this is what's going on today? Are you measuring it with thermography, or are you using SEMG, or are you just using palpation? You can just do palpation if you want, and that's your technique. But how do you show that to the mom? So if you're palpating the child and the child starts screaming, what is the mom thinking? The mom's thinking you're hurting them, when you're probably not hurting them, hopefully. But you didn't already say that to the mom and show her what you were going to be doing. So now it's too late and the mom lost trust and they're probably going to leave. So every one of these opportunities that happens in your practice is an opportunity for you to be proactive and be like, okay, if this child screams, the mom's going to think this. So what can I do with the mom to educate her on this is what I'm actually doing? So if the child screams, she knows it's just a kid screaming and not me hurting them. Is you show them the amount of force you're going to use to adjust the child on the mom's arm or something. That's what I do. And I'll show, like, if I'm going to make an atlas adjustment, I'll show the mom on her arm how much pressure I'm going to be using. So in her mind, she knows, oh, that's how it's going to feel on my infant. And then if the infant, starts doing something, they know, okay, he's not hurting them. The infant's just doing this. And it's just really learning how to be proactive and to figure out what objections does this person have. Is it they're afraid and they don't trust you? Is it time? Like, they don't know how they're going to get into the office because they're busy and, their kids go to school? Is it money? Like, they're not sure they can even afford it, or if their insurance is going to cover it. Addressing all of those objections before they actually come to you and ask you those will prevent them from leaving and really provide them with extraordinary experience. So know your objective tools. We personally use thermography through CLA, and that gives us objective measurements. If it's an older child, I mean, there's so many different steps of the game. We can go through infant to, younger child, less than 4 to over 4. Do you use posture? Do you use x-rays? Do you go over certain things depending on what the history was? I'll use as much objective stuff as I can. My background previously was in mechanical engineering, so I used to work on diesel engines all the time. And bring the light back. And that allowed me just to see, like, very analytically what's working, what's not working, how do I measure it, how do I know that it's doing what you said it's doing. If you're adjusting my kid and you said, yeah, they're doing better, but they're still symptomatic, I'm not going to believe it. I'm going to say, well, okay, but when are they actually going to feel better? When is it I'm going to see something? So if you can show me objectively, like, I can see this, and I can feel this changing, and this is what I'm seeing, and this is what I'm feeling, and this is what it looks like, then the parent can have a lot more confidence to know that. So day 2 is really important. Day 1 starts at, like, the phone. If somebody's calling your office, what is the phone experience? Are they using terminology like do you want to bring your whole family? Specific to the kids, is the person answering the phone upbeat and happy and making it easy on them to fill out paperwork online so they're not filling it out in the office with a bunch of kids running around? When they get there, is it a pediatric environment like you see in our office? Like, does it look like you see kids? If it looks like there's never been a kid in this office before and there's not kids running around because you don't see so many kids, it's already going to put the parent on edge, and they're not going to know, I'm already skeptical of this whole scenario and what this guy's going to do. And then, do you do a tour in your office? And is there places you can show them all? I mean, all you need is a wall of pictures of kids to see, hey, we see kids, and here's some testimonials of kids and what they did to get better, what we did with them to get better, and how long it took, and how old they were, and just relate that to the parents so they can see that. And then, of course, the evaluation, which we talked about, is all day one and making sure their experience is great. And so take something out of that. Hopefully you got something specific on, man, I could do this better with my evaluation or my planning or communicating when they come in the door. And there's a lot. I mean, we could spend an hour talking about each one of those little things, which we do when we do seminars and so forth. But I'd encourage you, just take one thing out of there, and one thing that you can do to do better. Like, I know our wait experience, isn't great. I know I don't communicate super effectively when I want to see them next and what the plan is. And sometimes they have questions and they're not sure. Do better at that, and actually write it down and make an action step. By this day, I'm going to start doing this, and stick to it. And hopefully that will help move the needle forward for you a little bit to see more kids before you actually get into all the marketing, if you can really nail down the internal procedures. So looking forward to continue this with you guys and just continue to bring content for you that you can use in your office to see more kids. Ultimately, if we can get kids healthy now, that's going to prevent them from being sick adults later. And we all know that. We just got to communicate that to everybody else. So make sure to join us again next time for Look to the Children on May 16th with Dr. Monica Berger. She's fantastic and will bring you a ton of value. Thanks so much.
Today's pediatric show, Look to the Children, was brought to you by ChiroSecure and the award-winning book series, I Am a Lovable Me. Make sure you join us next week, right here at the same time. See you next week.